back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another live Manchester United news show where we will be discussing a little bit of the FC20 match yesterday. Have United improved so far this season and talking about what's going on, where we're at and where we need to improve. But before we talk about that, we will get into some news. There's some interesting news coming out on the speech Berrada has given to those at United about his big plan, Plan 150, to celebrate 150 years of United with a Premier League title. His plans to do that, the importance of Man Utd has been revealed and why he's set to be getting a new contract, but also Kobbie Mainoo stories that I'm not happy with. Kobbie Mainoo is being attacked for basically no reason. Apparently Kobbie Mainoo has been bad. Apparently he's a flop. People are trying to make out that Kobbie Mainoo has been bad and that the hype's died down, and people are trying to write off Kobbie Mainoo, who's, I think he's been all right. You know, he's not been at his best, but he's not been bad. But yet, we're 5 games into the season. The guy didn't get a break all summer, and people online have decided to make out this narrative that Kobbie Mainoo's been bad and these stories that he's been bad. When actually, have you watched Phil Foden? Phil Foden's barely played since the Euros, but he's stunk out his last few games. Did you see what he did against Arsenal? Kobbie Mainoo's been better than Phil Foden, but one plays for United, one plays for Manchester City, one gets clicks. People are trying to make out Kobbie Mainoo's been bad when he hasn't been bad, and we will speak about that as well. I'm fed up with this narrative and this attack on United players in the media. We'll talk about Berrada's plan. Ten Hag replacements ready. There are replacements ready that would take the Man United job if Ten Hag is sacked. What is Ineos' stance on Ten Hag? And more as well. But guys, please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new as well. And yeah, United fans criticising Mainoo is crazy, but it's mostly rivals trying to make out this narrative that Mainoo has been bad. But before I get into anything, I do want to talk about have Manchester United been better this season. A little bit of comparison of stats, talk about the FC20 game, get into the news, get into Ten Hag replacements and more. But I also want to say there'll be a link pinned in the live chat comments and a link in the description. If you have not already, please do go ahead and vote for me, Alice Abrahams / Alice Talks Football, in the Football Content Awards. I've been nominated for Best Club Content Creator Premier League, Best Influencer, which is kind of crazy because like Fabrizio Romano's in that category, so I don't know how I've been nominated for that. I've got probably no chance of winning that. And then Best in Video Individual Creator. I've been nominated for those 3 awards, which is absolutely crazy and amazing to be nominated for them. So it would mean the world to me if you haven't voted already that you do go and vote. You can do that at the end of the live. But let's continue on. So this is some, interesting insight into what's coming out this season in terms of our statistics, a few measures, and more. And actually, I feel like this screen looks better because it's bigger. Oh, thank you very much. Anders. Hi, Alice. Do you think you always think when a player gets a big contract at United, they play bad afterwards, like Bruno, Rashford? Yeah, you know what? I was thinking this the other day. It is a little bit frustrating because I feel like a player plays really well, we give them a new contract, they're crap. It seems, I don't know what it is. Bruno was doing unreal at the end of last season, gets a new contract, been crap. Rashford went unreal, got a new contract, went crap. Martial got that new contract, went crap. It's like they work for the new contract, then they drop off. It's weird, isn't it? When contract time is coming, they play well. When they get the contract, they drop off. I don't know if it's a coincidence or anything, but it just seemed to be a thing at United, which is incredibly frustrating. So I know exactly what you mean. It is weird, but I Bruno gives 100%. I just think it's not working for him. But then he goes to Portugal and he plays well. Something's not working for him right now. But have Man United been better this season? That is the question. Because we have, believe it or not. This time last season we were ranked 19th for shots conceded, 18th for shots conceded inside the box, 16th for expected goals, 11th for interceptions, and 18th for duels won. We're now ranked 6th for shots conceded, 6th best. We're now ranked 9th for shots conceded inside the box. We're now ranked 10th for expected goals. We're ranked 1st for interceptions and 11th for defensive duels won. So defensively off the ball, our stats have improved. Now we are ranked like the 6th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and we ideally want to be ranked 3rd, 4th, 1st, 2nd. So we're not good enough, but we've improved. Last season, I've always said this about United. Last season, we were atrocious. This season, we're not bad. But where do we want to be? Good. There's atrocious, there's not bad, there's good. This is an improvement, but this isn't the level we should expect. We've gone from atrocious, not bad, but not bad isn't good enough. We need to be good. Yes, we've got better. Yes, we're seeing progress, but we need to see progress from where we're at. So we have improved. If you look at our XG, we're ranked 3rd. If you look at our big chances created, we're ranked 3rd. If you look at our shots on target, we're ranked 4th. Position in the final third, 4th. The successful take-ons, 3rd. Last season we were 14th for that, 10th for that, 8th for that, 12th for that. You know, we can see that we have massively improved this season, but there's definitely still a long way to go with Manchester United to continue on as well. We only lack sharpness in our finishing. That's what we need. We need to be a little bit better off the ball, and we need to be better in our finishing. That's probably the 2 main areas, in my opinion, that Manchester United need to improve. Anders says we have played better, but not scoring goals is the biggest problem right now, and that makes the results look real bad in the moment. And I agree. I think we're just not scoring the goals. I think we should have about 3. I think we should have got 3 points versus Brighton and could have got 3 points versus Crystal Palace, and then we'd be, you know, where Arsenal and everyone was at the top, and I think we'd be feeling a lot better. Had we taken our chances versus Crystal Palace, we'd be on 2 more points. And if we were on 2 more points, instead of sitting, what are we in the table, 11th? We'd probably be sitting, you know, 7th, 8th in the table. Had we beat Brighton, a game that I think we could have won, and then drawn to Crystal Palace, we'd be on 12 points with Aston Villa in 3rd. And I think we did enough to beat Brighton, and I think we did enough to beat Crystal Palace, but we didn't take our chances. We were sloppy, made a few mistakes, couldn't stay on side, and ultimately, we could be on 12 points right now had we taken those chances, and we'd be sitting in 3rd thinking, this is a good start, you know, but we're not. We're sitting in 11th. Tottenham are sitting in 10th, so that is a bit of a 6-pointer there, you know. But I think Man United and Tottenham have both looked okay. They've not looked brilliant, but Man United and Tottenham have looked better than Newcastle, who've got more points than us. So I get we do look better, but we've not been good enough as well. Romano says Man United committed to Ten Hag. Yeah, I believe that we are committed to Ten Hag, but there are replacements there ready if need be. Alice, look at the fixtures we've played. It's been an easy run of games, and you're absolutely right. I'm going to get something up on my screen before we talk about Mainoo. I want to get this up on my screen. Matches. We've had it easy, and we're going to get a hard run. I'm not going to lie, people. There's going to be a little bit of a difficult run coming up now for Manchester United. That's the wrong screen. Let me get the right screen up. This is the right screen, yeah? It's going to get difficult. So, other than Liverpool, Fulham, we've had it quite easy. But we've got Tottenham, Porto away, which is going to be our most difficult Europa League game. Villa, Brentford that have looked good. Fenerbahce away. West Ham. We don't have an easy game to West Ham. We don't have an easy game till West Ham, and that is way after the international break. Before the international break, we've got to play Tottenham and Villa. Before the next international break, we've got Tottenham and we've got Villa, which is 2 difficult games. We did beat Villa twice last season. There's 2 really difficult Premier League games, and then Porto away. Then we come back after the international break to Brentford, which has been our bogey team under Ten Hag. Fenerbahce away will be difficult, Jose Mourinho. And then we've got West Ham, and then we've got Leicester, which we should win. Chelsea will be a difficult game because they've looked good. We should win that game. Then we've got Leicester, Ipswich, Bodo, Everton. Then we've got an easy run. We've got an easy run from November 7th up until we have Arsenal December 3rd. So maybe that month we can build elements of confidence. I just can't believe how many international breaks there are. We've usually got an international break in 2 weeks. We play, and then we come back from the international break, and we play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Have another international break. Oh, God, so many international breaks, isn't there? But we've got a difficult run, and elements of that will be worrying, and elements of that will be concerning as well. This Villa and Tottenham game. If we beat Villa and we beat Tottenham and we beat Porto, we go into the international break feeling good. If we don't, we go into the international break and it's on Ten Hag. If we lose to both Villa and Tottenham and Porto, we will go into the international break basically knowing that Ten Hag maybe has 3 or 4 games to save his job, potentially, unless we're playing really good football and unless there's good progress as well. Alice, Ollie wants the United job. He didn't say he wants the United job, but he said if the offer was there, he would consider returning, which is fair enough. That's sort of expected as well. Romano says we are committed to Ten Hag. Apparently we are for now. Ten Hag's a few bad results away from the start. We're committed to Ten Hag, but I do think if we lose to Tottenham, Villa, Porto, November he could be sacked. I said the earliest I think Ten Hag being sacked is November. I think he gets at least 5 more games before they make any decision. But I think there was something that was written about a week ago saying he's got 7 games to save his job, and if he doesn't show anything in the next 7 games and it's bad, they're not afraid to pull the trigger. But apparently Ineos wouldn't do anything before November, is what's been said as well. I don't see a manager that people want coming in. It's unrealistic at this stage. That's the problem. If you sack Ten Hag, who comes in? Okay, Ruud van Nistelrooy is the interim. But look, Hansi Flick has now gone to Barcelona. My options would have been Nagelsmann and Flick. Obviously Nagelsmann wanted to stay for the Euros. Flick gone to Barcelona. They were my options. McKenna I like, but is that too big of a jump? You know, he's a good manager. Graham Potter's not convincing. De Zerbi's obviously gone now. Southgate, absolutely not. 100% not. There's obviously lots of elements around it that we have to look at and consider as well. October will be a nightmare. I am a bit worried. I am a bit worried for this month coming up. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit worried about United. But the thing is, if we win those next 3 games in a row, we're going to feel really good. And just because we know we've beaten a few tough people. So I think the best thing we can do is say, can we go on a run and win these next few games in a row? And we might be looking good and feeling good as well. I see a lot of Bruno hate in the chat, and look, he's not been good, and I think he might need to be dropped for a game, but I don't think he's an issue. I think he's probably been our best player post-Fergie. He's helped us through so many moments, so just because Bruno's been crap for 4 games in a row, I think it's a bit harsh to turn on him and start writing out that he's the biggest problem when he's been the least of our problems for so long when we've had a lot of big problems at the club. I think it just needs to be, you're not performing, you need to do better, maybe he needs to be dropped. I don't get this Bruno hate. I think Bruno could easily turn it around and end up winning our Player of the Season award and go on like a really good run from now until the end of the season. Like, he's capable of it. Absolutely. But we're going to get back into some more news. We're going to get back into more stories as well. Who do you think they replaced Ten Hag with? I think Nagelsmann. Vivel likes Nagelsmann. That can get the best out of the players because we can't rebuild all over again. The problem is, I think McKenna suits the profile of players we have more. But it's such a risk because we don't know how good he is. But obviously he worked with Ollie. McKenna Ball suits the profile of players that we have. I'd say that. Tuchel can adapt and do a good job. But personally, I think Nagelsmann's who they'd want because I think Vivel's a big fan of him. But I don't know. It's such a difference. Ragnick couldn't get it to work. The similarities there. Ruud van Nistelrooy needs to do something to improve finishing. He can do what he wants, but at the end of the day, I think a bit of it is mentally with the players in the moment as well. International football should be played after club football is finished. It kills momentum and progress. I agree. To be honest, for me, an international break in September, an international break in October, an international break in December is an absolute disgrace. Let's be honest, it is an absolute disgrace. It's silly. I think what they need is an international break in November, an international break in March. Get rid of the September and October one. Give the players a rest, have 1 game a week instead of 2 games a week in that period because they take 2 weeks off. We don't need an international break in September because we come back for 3 games, international break. We don't need an international break in October. Why don't we have a 2-week international break in November and a 2-week international break in March? So then they play 4 international games instead of 8, which means the players play 4 less games, which means they can get more rest in their legs, and that will, make up for the 4 added games in Europe this season. I mean, that's the way I see it, because I think having an international break every month for the first 3 months of the season is always just silly as well. And I can't stand it as well. Bruno must be dropped to create balance in defence and attack. The creativity we may lose. The thing is, if we drop Bruno and we're not creating anything, we'll be like, oh, where's Bruno? Where's Bruno? We need Bruno. I think Bruno needs to be dropped if he's having a bad game, but I don't think dropping Bruno solves a lot of problems. I think people are frustrated that Bruno's giving the ball away and he's having a bad game and doesn't retain the ball as well. So people are saying, oh, Bruno's the issue. Maybe Xerxes keeps the ball better, and I get that. I absolutely get that. But I don't think dropping Bruno and just saying, yeah, Bruno's done, he solves a lot of problems, because there's a lot of things that Bruno brings that we'll notice when he's gone. It is about Bruno getting back in form. If Bruno starts playing well and he starts getting back in form, he can be a good part of this team. But he's not in form, he's not playing well, and then you can drop him as well. Ineos sack managers for one. They won't put up a 10 for long, but they do sack a lot of managers at Nice, so you never know as well. Ten Hag won't be sacked until it goes very bad. If you don't give a manager a new assistant managers just to sack him, which is true, I'd assume the earliest they'd sack him is November, and it would have to be really bad for them to sack him in November as well. What do you think about Eriksen starting a lot of matches now? He's been better, but he was not in the plans in the summer. I'm able to get rid of him. I have no issue with him starting if he plays well. I think on the ball he brings so much, but off the ball he lacks. He's someone that I don't mind starting in the slower games and every other game on the ball. I'd rather him start in the 10 role where Bruno's playing, so he has less defensive responsibilities, and then we can have someone that can cover more ground behind him, if I'm going to be honest. Alex said I've backed Ten Hag this whole tenure, but he's running out of time. We should be routinely beating most of who we're playing, and I agree. For me, first 2 seasons I was going to back Ten Hag no matter what, because of the issues at the club and because I felt that the manager needed 2 full seasons and the injuries to put a stamp on it. But I will be judging Ten Hag this season. The environment is there. Ineos have backed him. This is the first time we've showed proper backing to the manager. The excuses are out for Ten Hag. He's got to show it and turn it around this season. I am seeing improvements, which is going to buy him more time, but I need to see more improvements from this. So this is going to be a season where the excuses will run out for Ten Hag, and if I don't see crazy improvement, then yeah, he may have to go as well. We're not going to drop anyone. We're going to stand behind our team and lift them up 100%. 100%. XG and easy on the eye aren't excuses. We need to be winning matches. Simple as. True. I think when you start the season and you've only got a 5-game sample size and you know that the XG is high and we look better on the eye, it's things should move up from here and we should get the points. We've just been unlucky. Whereas if we're getting the points but we're playing really badly, like Newcastle were, will that run out? I think that's the way you can look at it. Across a season, that's not a good stat, but in the opening 5-6 games, you can look at it in that way as well. It's Ten Hag's third season, so it will be expectations this season. Yeah, there's expectations. There's a lack of excuse. They'll be running out as well. Big up Gaz saying smash the likes and vote Alice. There will be a link in the description and pinned in the chat to go ahead and vote for me if you want to. Bruno needs a rest. It's not vital. He plays every second. Yeah, I think you can drop Bruno. I understand not dropping him in the Premier League game, especially a big game. But I think, if he's having a bad game, at least sub him off. He should have been subbed off versus 20 and he should have been subbed off versus Crystal Palace. I understand starting him because, when we don't start him, we lost 4-0 to Palace and it goes really badly wrong. But we can drop him. If Soxy and Rashford are playing well, why are they coming off and not Bruno? This is what I mean. Rashford, when he was playing crap, was getting 90 minutes every week under Ten Hag. And he was starting every game under Ten Hag. He started playing well again, Rashford. Oh, he's off. Xerxes playing well, he's off. It should be, if you're playing crap, you get subbed off. If you're playing well, you stay on. That's the thing, and that doesn't seem to happen under Ten Hag a lot of the time. We have to be backing two winning matches in short order. Can't be this run of results from weeks or months. But yeah, we need to get back on track. We need to start picking up the results and stuff as well. But let's get back into some stories. Let's get back into some news, and then I will go back into the chat. But there's been a lot of criticism of Mainoo. Mainoo hype died a horrible death. Not heard a single good thing about him this season. 1.2 million views, thousands of quote tweets, big accounts now tweeting stuff that, Mainoo hasn't had a good start to the season. Absolute nonsense. Don't think people understand what Mainoo's been asked to do and how he's had no rest. Players with 10 plus take-ons, 10 plus interceptions in the Premier League this season, Mainoo. Mainoo ranks first for interceptions in the league. Mainoo has come back from the Euros with no rest, no pre-season, been thrown into some games in a position where he's having to do everything because he's got no support. Mainoo having the most interceptions isn't a good thing. It shows that Mainoo's been fine, but it's not a good thing. Mainoo having the most interceptions is because he's had way too much work to do and he's been thrown in and not had the support and nurture around him. Mainoo hasn't been bad. Has Mainoo been at his best? No. But has he been bad? No. He's been fine. He's been average. We know that Mainoo could deliver more than what we've seen this season, but he's been thrown into a difficult role. He's been absolutely fine. He's not been bad at all. But people are trying to make out he's been bad because he's not being hyped up. Connor Bradley got really hyped up for Liverpool. The hype's gone. Is Connor Bradley been bad for Liverpool? No, I've watched Connor Bradley. He's been very good for Liverpool. But people are just used to him putting in good performances. People are just good for Mainoo putting in good performances for United. So the hype isn't there as much. Because Mainoo putting in good performances is something that we're used to. So he's not getting the hype for the good performances because everyone's used to it. Mainoo's been all right. He's had a 6 out of 10. He's not been at his best, but he's not been crap. But people are trying to make out this narrative in the media and make out these stories in the media that Mainoo's been bad. Because let's be honest, if you've watched Mainoo this season, you've watched Phil Foden this season, 2 players that didn't get pre-season arrest post-England at Euros, who's been better, Mainoo or Phil Foden? Mainoo's been levels ahead of Phil Foden this season. Phil Foden's been crap, but you're not seeing media reports writing stories that Phil Foden's been crap. No, only Mainoo, because Man United get clicks. And it's just a disgrace. It's a disgrace how Mainoo's played 5 games this season, not had a pre-season, as a 19-year-old kid, has been thrown into a position where he's made the most interceptions and had to get a card every game, and I think he's been okay, and people are writing bad stuff about him. It's not even like he's been putting in stinkers like Casemiro. He's okay. He's not been at his best, but he's been okay. It's not like he's not even been bad, but the media are just shambles, making out that Mainoo's been bad, this and that as well. Mainoo could use a rest. He's overloaded since playing football. He broke in. I agree. Have you heard something about Casemiro in the dressing room? He's been benched last matches. And remember, he was dropped in the FA Cup final. There was a report that Casemiro was fuming. He was dropped for the FA Cup final. And then there was a big fallout with Ten Hag. And then he got completely dropped from the squad because he was fuming that Amrabat played over him, which was a really good decision from Ten Hag in the end because Amrabat put in a man of the match performance. But I don't think there's any issues with Ten Hag and Casemiro. But Casemiro was fuming, and you could tell by the comments his wife had made as well, that he was subbed off half-time versus Liverpool. He felt embarrassed by Ten Hag. So there was definitely some tension between Casemiro and Ten Hag because he was subbed off versus Liverpool. And I think their relationship isn't as good as when Casemiro first joined. There's definitely some issues there between Casemiro and Ten Hag. But I think Casemiro is a professional player. I think Man United have passed petty dressing room drama, and I think Casemiro will know he's not been at his best and will understand the manager's decision. So while there has been, sort of rumours and reports of, a little bit of a feud between Casemiro and Ten Hag, I don't think it's anything serious. I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. It's probably just Casemiro frustrated he's not at his best and annoyed that Ten Hag has subbed him off because he wants to play football, which is fair enough as well. Mainoo was best player against Palace, the rest were crap. I mean, I wouldn't say he's the best player, but he put in a decent performance as well. Any Cafer would drop Casemiro due to his form, exactly. I think people... I don't think there's anything major going on between, Casemiro and Ten Hag as well. Someone said Casemiro maybe give his wife run out next match. I mean, his wife was not happy that he was dropped, but I don't think Casemiro can complain too much about not being played and dropped. Gaz says Spurs is a must-win. It definitely is a must-win game. So let's talk about Omar Berrada's Manchester United plan, because this was quite interesting. Manchester United Chief Executive Omar Berrada has told staff the aim is to win the Premier League title in 2028 for the 150th anniversary of the club being formed. Omar Berrada addressed Manchester United employees during a meeting at Old Trafford last Wednesday and mapped out the ambitions shared by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the football hierarchy. Berrada informed staff of Project 150, so called because it coincides with a major milestone in United's 150-year existence. So Berrada's got this plan to win the league title in 2028. I think if we get our transfer window right, we can win it in 2027. 2025 is this year. 2026 is next season. I think this season is about getting back in the Champions League. Next season is about getting back in as a challenger team and actually showing those at the top we can give them a run in. The third season, 2027, is when I would like us to win it. They've gone for 2028, which is a little bit more realistic because it is a long-term project as well. And Berrada's plan is to make Manchester United Premier League champions for 2028, 150-year anniversary as well. And I like that. The ambition there is to win the title. The ambition is it's a long-term project. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Stay with us. But we're going to make sure in 3 years' time we're going into the season as maybe title favourites and we win the league. And we can celebrate that league title on the 150-year anniversary of the club being formed. And unlike Manchester City's 5 league titles in the last 6 years, this league title will be legit league titles with no cheating, no bending of sponsorships around. Because even if Manchester City do not get found guilty, everybody knows they're guilty. It's so obvious. The numbers don't add up. They'll find a loophole. Money's thrown at it. It's political. Football's political. But when Man United win a title, when Arsenal win a title, when Liverpool win a title, it will be a legit title. Not through cheating, for a legit fan base as well. And it'd be nice to see a legit club win a title, and hopefully that will be us in 2028. I mean, a legit club in Man United wouldn't be nice to see Arsenal or Liverpool win it. It'd be nice to see us win it. But, people keep talking about City's titles, but for me, I think their titles, it's going to be staying with 115. When United are back and we've not cheated and we work our way back after the downs, it's what we want to see as well. This United is no longer a way to beat Spurs, guys. No way. It's football, but not for this United. I don't know what you mean by that. You're just waffling. But look, do you know what? Tottenham could beat us. Tottenham and Man United are very similar. Tottenham and Man United have played all right this season, not been clinical, had times where they're on top and not put chances away. They're inconsistent, but they've had really good spells and they show good things. Ange, Ten Hag, Tottenham, Man United, similar situations, but Ange has a year less than Ten Hag, so Ange has got more excuses. Tottenham have been hit hot and cold. Man United have been hot and cold. Moments where we look good, moments where we look bad. Tottenham and us are almost sort of in a similar position right now, so I think 2-2 is written all over it, if I'm going to be honest as well. City winning it doesn't bother me. They're tainted and no one cares about them. The thing is, it's like, I'd rather City win it than Arsenal and Liverpool, because if Arsenal and Liverpool win it, their fan base just goes on and on and on about it. And I'm like, oh, they've won it. But if City win it, you don't care because it is just tainted with 115 and cheating and all of that stuff. And their fan base is tiny. So it's like, you don't notice it if City wins, because I feel like a lot of people don't take it as serious because of 115. And I feel sorry for Pep because I think he's an unreal manager, but I think people won't take what he's done as seriously because of the cheating before he came in as well. Let's dive into the next story. So we are talking about Ten Hag and we are talking about a few potential Ten Hag replacements on the market because there's a couple people interested in the Manchester United job. So we've got a few stories going out and about. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when asked if he'd accept a managerial return to United, saying, "I don't like to talk about other manager jobs, but yes, I would of course accept a return if I was called upon." Man United apparently looking at Simeone Inzaghi and Thomas Tuchel. Inzaghi's obviously at Inter. Tuchel was out of a job as names to replace Ten Hag if need be. It was said that Ineos is reportedly considering several managerial candidates who could step in at Manchester United if Erik Ten Hag were to leave. Sources suggest that a number of experienced coaches are ready and waiting should the club decide to make a change, amid growing speculation around Ten Hag's future. So Ineos haven't made the decision to sack Ten Hag, but we know from the Muppeteers that there's a few things that Ineos want to see from Ten Hag and that they have concerns about. There's a few things Ineos want to see from Ten Hag, there's a few things Ineos are concerned about in regards to Ten Hag. But they haven't got plans to sack him imminently, but there are other managers there that Ineos like, that Ineos are looking at, that, should things go wrong with Ten Hag, would be ready to take the job if called upon. Man United are interested in this manager. If they choose to sack Ten Hag, this manager is interested in United. Bish, bash, bosh. That sort of seems to be the whole situation, which is, fair enough. But I don't think anything will happen in regards to Ten Hag's future for a little bit of time as well. Inzaghi would be good. Also, the Villa manager. I don't want Unai Emery at United. I think he's a little bit too defensive as well. 129 likes. Let's get for 250 likes and over 415 watching. Yeah, we've got over 415 people watching, guys. Like, if literally less than half of you hit that like button, we will hit 200 likes, people. So please do go ahead and do that if you haven't already. And of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Alice, at least if we sat Ten Hag, we have the football structure. That's true. For me, I would give Ten Hag more games to turn it around because I've seen progress. You've given him so much backing in the transfer window. But I think if Ten Hag is sacked, I think the next manager that comes in will be the first manager that will be at United under the new hierarchy completely, not had time under the old hierarchy, and could be backed and could potentially do something special absolutely as well. Alice, do you think we could win the title in 2028? I'd like to think so. If I'm sitting here in 4 years' time saying, oh my God, we're in another rebuild and we haven't even broke back into the top 3 in the last 4 years and we've never even looked like a team challenging for the top 2 in the last 4 years, I'll be very depressed. I'll be very upset what we're sitting under Ineos. I'd like to think in 3 years' time, I'll be sitting here thinking, oh, we're going to be in a title challenge, or we could be in a title challenge in 3 years' time and we're expected to take it to the end. I wouldn't want to be sitting here in 3-4 years' time thinking, oh, we're here where we are now in 3-4 years' time. The situation with a weak midfield can be solved with a formation change. My favourite is a 3-4-3. Won't work with Erik, but 4-3-3 way to go. Fair enough. I think Ugarte could play as a lone 6 if he gets the support from Delo and Verting, which we're seeing as well. I think our pressure is better this season without the ball, but we still have a way up to pressure with the whole team. You don't see Liverpool and City doing it. I agree. We're better, but we're still not good enough. Someone said my eyes are bleeding watching United. I mean, it's not been as bad as last season. It hasn't been bad, but I felt that FC20 wanted to win more yesterday, and I felt that we aren't the most exciting. I thought the second half was bad. One thing I want to see is every time Højlund comes on, Amad Diallo is off the pitch. Højlund needs service. Xerxes can work with Garnacho and Rashford on the wings because Xerxes is a facilitator. Højlund needs service. Now, of all of our wingers, who's going to bring the most service? Amad Diallo. If Højlund comes on, I don't want us to be taking Amad Diallo because if you look at the creativity stats, Amad Diallo is levels above everyone else. He's our most creative winger. Rashford and Garnacho are goal scorers. Amad is creativity. And when every time Højlund comes on, we don't get the ball to him because we take Xerxes and Amad off, who are our two most creative players, that are going to get the ball to Højlund. So I really hope that if Højlund does play, Amad is on the pitch. I don't mind him starting a front three of Garnacho on the right, Rashford on the left, and Xerxes in the middle, and then subbing Xerxes and Garnacho off for Amad and Højlund, because at least Amad will provide that service to Højlund. If Bruno is stinking it up, then sub Bruno off, drop Xerxes deeper, and put Højlund in there. But I think Amad Diallo, he's been so creative for us. I want to see him play with Højlund as well. We just have to be winning matches. Any top 6 to 8 club would easily beat FC20 at home. I agree. It's not good enough. FC20 wanted it more. They gave more. I thought the effort levels and intensity of FC20 was ahead of us, and I think that's why they won. They wanted it more. They gave more. Their effort levels were ahead of us, but it's not an excuse. We should be beating FC20. Ten Hag should have done better. The team should have done better, and the substitutions from Ten Hag hasn't been good. Ten Hag in his first season, I think, ranked first for goals from substitutions off the bench. Ten Hag this season, the substitutions seem to be killing every game as well. My favourite midfield three are Ugarte, Mainoo and Mount. Do you know what? Now, I'm a big Bruno fan, but I think in terms of balance, that could work really well because of the ground coverage of Mason Mount. I do think that could work potentially well. I don't think these players want to play for Ten Hag. I think they do want to play for Ten Hag, but I just feel like they weren't up for that game. I thought it was FC20. It's not a big game. I felt like they just weren't up for it. I felt like FC20's first game in Europe in 12 years. You know how in the FA Cup final we were really up for it. We were really round because we knew we had to win the FA Cup final to get back into Europe. I felt that FC20 knew that this was their first game in Europe in 12 years and gave everything, and we were just, I think we underestimated Alice as well. His sub was dreadful. The subs were bad as well. Would like to see Xerxes as a cam centre forward behind Rasmus at times. I agree. I think Xerxes is a centre forward, not a number 10, but I want to see him and Højlund try together. Whether we go 4-4-2 with Xerxes and Højlund up top, with maybe Rashford on the left, Ahmad on the right, and then we do Agate and Mainoo in the middle, or Agate and Bruno in the middle, with Bruno playing deeper, or Agate and Mount in the middle, potentially. I think because of the off-the-ballness, I'd say Mainoo and Agate would complement each other the best. Mainoo and Agate in the middle, Rashford on the left, Garnacho on the right, Højlund and Xerxes up top, 4-4-2, or that's a 4-3-3, with Xerxes dropping in behind. I'd like to see it tried. I think Xerxes is more of a striker, but I would definitely like to see it try. Playing Rashford and Garnacho is both kind of waste of number 9. Rarely do they create chances. The thing is, if you've got Xerxes, it's fine. Xerxes is a facilitator. He does the quick 1-2s, and you've seen it with his relationship with Rashford. It's like Firmino had Mane and Salah that scored all the goals, and that was fine because Firmino's role got the best out of Mane and Salah. With Højlund, you want Ahmad. With Højlund, you would have wanted Ahmad or Sancho on one wing and someone direct on the other. With Man United, if you've got Højlund in the middle, you want one direct winger, one creative winger, so one Rashford and then one creative in Ahmad. With Xerxes, you can have 2 direct wingers, but with Højlund, you either need 2 creative wingers or 1 direct winger, 1 creative winger. If we play a 4-3-3 and leave Bruno out and bring in Mount, we could get goals for sure. I don't think leaving Bruno out and dropping him is going to solve all our issues and we're going to play really good. And I think Bruno gets in our best starting 11 and is key for this club and the success of this club. But I think right now he should be dropped and we should try something else because I think if Bruno finds form, he is our best player. And I think what we need to do is find Bruno to find form, make sure the system works with Bruno. But we can drop him, try something else for a few games because he hasn't been good enough. But I think people are coming to this conclusion off the back of 5 bad games that Bruno needs to be dropped permanently and exiled and that our best 11 doesn't have Bruno. And I think our best 11 probably does have Bruno Fernandes in there. But right now it doesn't because he's not been good enough. Because I know how good Bruno can be and I'm not going to write him off after a few bad games. But on form, Bruno doesn't get in the current lineup. I agree. In terms of other news, Ten Hag spoke out about the team and the problems. He said the team's problems is we're not scoring enough goals. We have players capable of scoring, but we don't score enough in relation to chances created. Ten Hag said we have the right structure. We have more possession than the opponents in most games, but what counts is what you do with possession. The ball comes into the box a lot, and we have to take advantage of it, which is true. Ten Hag said I think it will be a very intense game. It always is against Tottenham, and I think it's also our style as well. So I think it's going to be a very dynamic, attractive game. Every opponent has strengths and weaknesses. Tottenham have a clear philosophy. They're very offensive, but they also leave spaces. You have to be very good against them to control the game and seize your chances. And he's absolutely right. Ten Hag then spoke about Xerxes, saying, yes, I think so that Xerxes can become a prolific goal scorer at United. He's young. You see the abilities. He has good link-up play. He's creative. He can definitely improve in finishing, but he has very good qualities. He needs our support. We made the choice to sign young players like Højlund last year, Xerxes in Euro this year. We believe in the present and also the future. We have to build a team. I think we're improving, but it takes time. I know it's not good, but I'm impatient, but we have to. We've had success, and in the last 2 seasons, we have to work hard even more. He's saying, we're getting better, but it's not good enough, and that Xerxes is good and brings creativity, essentially, and that Tottenham will be a difficult match, but we need to control it and take advantage of the space, and he's right with the comments about Tottenham, to be fair, as well. Certain matches we create loads of chances, not put them away, I agree. Never say drop him, but bring him off the bench. That way we'll know he's not a certain starter. However, it changes the attacking perspective as well. The thing is, I think if we drop Bruno for 3 games and we play crap those last 3 games and we don't create anything, all the people that be saying drop Bruno are saying we'll need Bruno. I think it's a flip-flopping of opinion and we're looking for a short-term fix. Take Bruno off if he's playing bad. If Bruno plays well, keep him on. That's the simple thing. I think Xerxes has finishing potential. He's had a good few goals, kept up by brilliant saves. I agree as well. But guys, my throat is gone. I've got a cold, so I literally can't speak for much longer. So I'm going to wrap up the live stream in a minute. But please, if you have not already, do hit that like button. And if you're new and you like what I'm bringing, subscribe down below if you're new. I do a 10-minute video every morning, just rounding up the news in a 10-minute video so you get all your information out short, sweet, simple. And then in the evenings, I do like a 30 to 40-minute live show where I talk to you guys about United, get your opinions, and it's a bit more interactive. So we've got a mix of short news in 10 minutes and interactive stuff as well. And then on the way out, there will be a link in the description and a link pinned in the live chat to go and vote me in the Football Content Awards. I've been crazily nominated for 3 awards at the Football Content Awards this year. There's some crazy other people nominated, like Fabrizio Romano and stuff, so I don't think I'll win them, but if you guys vote, it would be greatly appreciated to see what we can do in this year's Football Content Awards. There will be a link to vote for me for the 3 awards down below or pinned in the chat. Big up everybody in the chat. Thank you for everyone for contributing. Speak soon.